What's up, Crankshaft Corys? Welcome to another video, Crankshaft Gang for Life. In today's video, I'm dropping my Volt Pro onto rocks, and I think that's really cool. I really hope that y'all enjoy that. That's going to be what I'm doing for the entire video. I think it's just a really good thing to do, you know. I love dropping my Volt Pro onto rocks, and I think you guys will enjoy watching me do that. Maybe I drop it in a river. Hey, that'd be pretty fun, you know. You guys like to see me drop the Volt Pro in a river? Well, you have to stay tuned for a different episode for that. It's not that episode. Today we're dropping it on rocks. Yeah, so flipping my Volt Pro, enjoying that, but I have a specific thing to talk about today. That's right. Today, I am talking about VR chat. I play VR chat sometimes. A lot of my friends play VR chat sometimes, and I want to talk about it because it is a very interesting game that deserves a lot more attention than it's currently getting. Now, let me preface this with this opinion that I have is, I think, interesting, but it needs the caveat of, like, I understand that VR is not a cheap hobby to get into. It requires a fair bit of money and effort to do. However, you don't have to go the route of, like, having a full valve index and all sorts of stuff like that. Like, you don't need the valve index with full body tracking and all the everything. You can just get a Quest 3 for pretty cheap, and as long as you have a good computer to hook it up to, like even a mid-range good, you know, it can have a 2070 in it with like a relatively old processor, and overall it'll still work just fine for most applications. So, you know, it doesn't have to be a crazy computer, but a good computer. So I understand that that is a pretty high bar for a lot of people. A lot of people don't have that kind of cash, and so, you know, you just might not be able to play it all, and I understand that. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about how, after you get in, which I understand costs money and is kind of antithetical to what I'm about to say, VR chat as a game and an experience is a strikingly anti-capitalist thing. Just from the get-go, from what it is and what you can do in it, it is shockingly anti-capitalist. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean some very specific things, because it's it's not just like VR chat in general. You know, it's not the base game necessarily. What is VR chat? VR chat is very similar to the vision of what the metaverse is, or what Ready Player One is, right, in general. Like, VR chat is a sandbox multiplayer game where you can go online and hang out with people, and anybody can create an avatar of anything they want, and anybody can create a world of anything they want. And so this means a few things. Number one, this means that there's a lot of game and social potential inside of something like VR chat, right? So you can go into VR chat and you can have a avatar of literally anything you want. So, like, if you wanted to be Naruto, well, I've got great news for you. There are thousands of Naruto avatars, and they're all varying levels of jank, and it's fantastic. If you want to be Master Chief, great news. There are billions of Master Chiefs that you can have, and they're all different and funny in their own way. Like, some of them are very serious, and you just get like a very nice functional Master Chief outfit that has like spawnable guns and energy swords and everything. I don't know why I said sword, like shord, but whatever. You get spawnable guns and energy swords. You also have really bad Master Chiefs where the entire texture is rainbow and constantly changing, and every time you talk, instead of like animating a mouth or a graphic or anything, it animates the scale, width, and depth of the head. So the whole head just kind of like jiggles around and moves in different axes. Like, depending on what you're saying, it scales in different directions, and it's really funny, honestly. So that's the experience of VR chat. It's hanging out with your friends and playing games that other people have created. So you can create avatars and wear avatars and play as them, and you can play games because people can create worlds. So you can create avatars and you can create worlds, and those worlds can be quite literally anything you can imagine. Okay? As long as you have the technical know-how, you can produce a world that is basically anything. To give you some examples, VR chat has some amazing worlds where, like, there's the Audio Orbs world that I really love. Audio Orbs is literally just a world with a ring of light-up balls, and they react to music. So whatever music you put into the music player, the Audio Orbs will react to it. They'll light up, they'll dance around, and do all sorts of stuff. It's just a cool music visualizer. But that already is a pretty cool feature. Then you have other worlds, like there's a VR chat version of Among Us. You can go play Among Us in VR with your friends for free, right? And is this technically copyright infringement? I don't know. Probably. I don't really care that much, though, because it's cool. So yeah, you can go play VR chat Among Us. Once again, for free. That's the biggest thing. The thing that makes VR chat anti-capitalist at its core is the free experience. And that's kind of what scares me about VR chat, because I really want it. Whoops. See, I told you, we're dropping it on rocks today. I really want it to stick around. I really want VR chat to last, okay? But the thing I'm afraid of is that maybe it can't. Because in our world, right, a free service that is offering connection between people that has a user base like VR chat is rife for being taken advantage of, okay? Like, this is something that could very easily find itself being taken deep advantage of. And thankfully, like, that hasn't happened yet. VR chat has been very good about holding on to their company and making sure that they don't sell out and, you know, suddenly fill their game with advertisements and all sorts of stuff like that. But it very well could happen at any point. And I'm glad that, you know, VR chat has their subscription service right now, where it's like, you know, you can subscribe to VR chat to help pay for the servers and stuff like that, and you get some premium benefits. And I think that's a really nice way, because that makes the community directly involved with supporting the service. But it's kind of like Patreon. Here, support us on Patreon. But, like, at the same time, I don't know, in this world of capitalism where, like, accruing capital and becoming more profitable, I don't know if that's actually a sustainable model. I hope it is, because the world deserves something like VR chat. The world deserves a place where you can go and get in and hang out with friends in a way that you just simply cannot otherwise. VR chat is incredible because it allows for, like, deep social interaction that feels quite authentic for what is essentially a glorified Discord call. And you can have deep social interactions on Discord as well. I don't want to knock that. But VR chat adds this other element, which is quite literally just the 3D space that it exists inside of, that makes it feel much more real. There is a weird, distinct feeling of hanging out. Like, if you actually go and party with people and hang out in VR chat, and, like, get a group of friends and really get to hang out and go world hopping and explore and party, like, it feels like you're really hanging out with people. It really does. And it tricks your brain into that, because, like, you are, to some degree, actually doing that. It's really interesting. That level of physical interactivity is important. And it can only be done through a medium like VR. The thing that really made me think about this, though, is there's a world creator called PK, and they have a music label called Break, and Break has, you know, multiple VR chat clubs and worlds and stuff like that. And what they do is they release really interesting music, and it's just a good time. But their worlds are incredible. They are trippy as all heck. They are covered in visuals that are, like, absolutely mind-blowing. They use shaders to affect your vision of reality. So they will change the color of everything. Everything will start to flash, or suddenly everything becomes extremely distorted and looks really interesting. And genuinely, it's one of the coolest experiences ever going to one of PK's worlds. But there is specifically a world called Equilibrium that I did very recently. I've done it once before, but I did it very recently again. And it is just incredible. It is a multiple hour-long experience where you basically live a movie, right? Like, it's multiple DJ sets. You have multiple DJs who play their music, and it's really, really cool. But once you are like in it and experiencing it, it is baffling the amount of work that must have gone into creating it. It is tons and tons. The whole world is literally a whole gigabyte. You have to download a gigabyte to watch this. And you don't just watch it, you experience it. That's something else that I kind of had a realization of. Like, there is no way for me to record the experience that is Equilibrium. It's something you have to go into VR and do. Like, if you tried recording it, it wouldn't work because you can't get across the feeling of what Equilibrium is without being in VR. You need the depth and the physicality. Like, there's a point where you go underwater and you're in a giant, like, submarine being piloted by a axolotl DJ, and it's awesome. And you're underwater, and there's a bunch of creatures and monsters that swim past your submarine. And you can only get the sense of scale that you do in VR because of the 3D effect. You see these massive creatures outside of the submarine, and like, that is very important that you get that sense of scale, that you feel that sense of depth, and you can look wherever you want. There's things happening all over, and being able to look around and see all those things happening whenever you want is important. Like, this is what makes VR such an interesting medium. But the thing that I realized is that as I pay attention to this, I'm like, nobody did this for money. Like, this is, sure, kind of an advertisement for a very small group of people who have a very small music label, but even then, calling it an advertisement would be a disservice to the art that it actually is, because it isn't. It is art. It is something you can go and do and experience for free that people put easily multiple months of work into, if not more than a year of work, okay? It's one of the craziest experiences I have ever had, and I got to do it with my friends for free. Like, once you've got the stuff for VR, the actual experience of VR chat does not cost you more money. And that is such an interesting point. Like, that is, in and of itself, deeply anti-capitalist. Creating stuff that allows for deep human experience that you don't have to pay for. That is against the idea of capitalism. The idea of capitalism is accruing capital for the sake of providing value. Well, I had a ton of value provided to me for free. There was no capital accrued in the production of this project. And that is weirdly inspiring. It's something that was created genuinely only for the love of creation, for the craft and the artistry. It is so interesting and so dynamic and honestly so important to me. I don't know, it is such a cool thing that could exist. And I'm glad that it does, because like, I genuinely love experiencing stuff like that. It is such a cool thing to be able to do. And so I highly suggest, if you have the ability, check out VR chat. Even if you don't actually have a VR headset, you can still play VR chat on your computer. It's not quite the same, but you still get a lot of it. You know, you don't get that cool 3D-ness, but you do get the interactivity of a video game. So even if you went and did Equilibrium on desktop, which probably wouldn't be as good, but you would at least get an idea of what was going on, and you would get the interactivity of controlling the camera yourself and looking around at the different things when you wanted to, right? So yeah, I don't know. VR chat both makes me concerned because I'm afraid of it going away, because I genuinely think it is incredibly important. I think that something that provides a locale for self-expression. I mean, there's a reason that the Horizons worlds from the Meta company, aka Facebook, and the metaverse was kind of doomed from the beginning, and it's because the idea of an actual Ready Player One type thing already exists. It's VR chat. People can make their own content and produce whatever they want and not have to worry about having to make money off of it. It is something that is generated by the people for the people, and that is very, very important. Whereas something like Meta Horizons simply isn't going to stack up that way. It's not going to be able to provide the value that people get from something like VR chat, which makes me both very happy and very scared for the future of VR chat, because like that makes them a target. They are a valuable company who honestly aren't even making that much money currently. And all these grubby billionaires definitely are looking at VR chat and like licking their lips, being like, ooh, we could use this platform and really make a lot of money off of it. And I think that's terrible. I really hope that that doesn't happen. I really hope that VR chat is able to kind of keep themselves locked in to, you know, what we've come to expect from them, and keep on this track of, you know, being a really cool company that provides experiences to people for free. I think that's really important. So, yeah. Either way, just wanted to talk about that. It just felt like a really cool thing. I think that interactivity and like being able to talk to people and, you know, exist in a world like that and have social interactions online and experiences that you simply cannot get elsewhere, and then having all that be available for free is crazy. I think it's really, really cool. So yeah. If you haven't tried VR chat before, I highly suggest it, though I will give you the warning, don't just do public worlds. That is not the point of VR chat. The point of VR chat is that you can go to any world you want, but if you go to a public instance, you're going to find a bunch of just random children and people being racist online. That's just how it works. It's like going to a random room on Omegle and assuming that you're going to have a good time. It's not going to go well. So what you want to do is, if you haven't experienced VR chat before, you know, get together with like 2 to 3 of your online friends, or friends you know in real life. Anybody will do. Just get together with some friends and get on VR chat together and go exploring worlds together, and make private instances that are like Friends Plus, and then get on VR chat and go to those worlds, or join some groups. Joining VR chat groups is also a great way to get started. You know, if you are interested in anything like, for instance, there's a chess group that I'm a part of. So if you just look up like VR chat chess, that's a group that you can join, and then you can play chess in VR chat with a bunch of other people who are interested in playing chess, and they open up group instances where just anybody that's in the group can go and join, and that's way better than a public instance, because you're not getting a bunch of randos, you're getting randos who are interested in a specific thing that you are also interested in, and there's at least some moderation in most of those groups, where it's like, if this group is for a specific thing, like maybe it's like I've seen a plane flying group, right? There are worlds in VR chat where you can fly planes, which is such an interesting thing, and there are groups of people who do like VR chat piloting, and so you can join those groups and then hang out in instances with those people and not have to worry about just joining a public instance of a bunch of randos. Those people are there for a specific purpose, so you might actually be able to make friends with them. And then on top of that, there is some level of moderation in most of those groups, so if someone is acting up, they'll get banned and yada yada, it's fine. But so either join some groups in VR chat, or if you get the chance, get your friends to get in with you, and you will have a surprisingly fun time. As I said, Equilibrium is a great world to check out. It is multiple hours long, so it is a very big time sink experience. It's also extremely intense. It is flashing lights and colors. If you have epilepsy, do not go to this world. It will absolutely ruin you. Also, if your computer is not up to snuff, because some of the shaders in that world are extremely intense, it could crash your computer. So Equilibrium is the thing that like made me think about this really intensely, but there are a bunch of worlds in VR chat that have the same effect as Equilibrium. There are a bunch of worlds that are obviously incredible works of art that have really cool stuff going on that you can just experience entirely for free. There are museums in VR chat. There's this one place called the Bone Gallery that is a entirely handmade museum that is full of dinosaur bones, and each model of dinosaur bones was hand sculpted by like a guy who is an expert in dinosaurs, and he hand sculpted and animated some of these dinosaur skeletons, so they're all real dinosaur skeletons, and they're all to scale. There's a brachiosaur in that world that is to scale that you can like walk up to and go like next to its head and see how freaking massive this thing is. There's a flying dinosaur from that world that had a 20-foot, or I think it was like, it was a 50-foot wingspan and it was 20 feet tall from the foot to the shoulder. Like, that was a flying dinosaur that existed. That thing was real. And it's just in a world and you can go look at it for free. Called the Bone Gallery. Definitely check it out. It's really, really cool. But like, yeah, there's so much stuff that you can just do and experience for free with your friends. It's really cool, and you should. And you don't have to pay money for it. You have to pay money for like the equipment, but that's not VR chat's fault. That's the other company's fault. But once you make that investment, you have a lot in front of you that you can do. I don't know. It's really cool. So yeah. Sorry, this is a long one. I got kind of intense. I got kind of caught up and went on a bunch of tangents, but at the same time, it's just something I really wanted to talk about because I think it's fucking cool. And I like it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. And yeah, I guess I'll see y'all later. Peace.